The, all right, so it did not go through. Um, okay, so hello. All right, so part of this is working.
All right, it is 6:03. I call to order the Public Works Committee meeting for July 7th. I have with me Ms. Carol King. Mr. Michael Reynolds will not be joining us today, and Seth Duncan will be also joining us as well. Before, all right. First of all, any public comment pertaining to Public Works? Anyone online? All right. Reading and approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as submitted, but note that I was out of town for that meeting. However, I can still make the motion.
Yes. I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. It is approved. All right. Reports or communications from city officers. Seth?
Thanks, sir. Just two quick updates. We've also posted these to social media. One, we found out late last week, actually just hours before, that Ashmore Bridge Road, the bridge that crosses the river there, was going to be closing down due to repairs by SCDOT. SCDOT has since updated us to say that they do expect the repairs to take 3 to 4 weeks. And so the detour will be in place for during that time period. We do appreciate the public's uh, patience during this process. It's not a very usual situation where DOT calls us up in the late afternoon to close a bridge the next day. So we, one, appreciate all their hard work and what they're doing, but two, also the patience of the community while folks have to detour for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Do we know any details about why?
I just know it was a pillar situation.
Pillar.
Yes, sir.
Structural issue.
Structural issue, yes, sir. And the other thing I wanted to, we also posted out there was that the crossing at Jenkins Street to Murray, that is still not operational as of yet. We are still awaiting for the Piedmont Natural Gas to relocate a natural gas line, which should be any day now. And then we'll be able to make the stormwater upgrades and complete that streetscaping project within the next month or two, and then we'll have that opening, that crossing back open once again.
Good. One of the things, because I've mentioned to some folks, but by that, even though it's a pain for us on Ashmore Bridge Road, it's a bit of a blessing as well because it put us up on top of the list to get that road finally something done with it. Correct?
So this was really just tackling the bridge safety issue, and they do expect to elevate that bridge replacement on the priority schedule. But as far as a broader road effort, long-term effort, there's not a specific plan as of yet for the entire roadway.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. There's no unfinished business, and let's go to a new business.
I think that's going to be me again, sir.
Yep.
Okay. So the first one, we have staff's requesting authorization use of FY26 budgeted funds to match an amendment to the South Carolina Infrastructure Improvement Program, or the SKIP program, to complete Basin RG2 sewer rehabilitation. So as the committee may recall, we received funds from the state that were allowing us to put in a significant amount of improvements into that sewer basin. They actually called us up about 3 weeks ago and said, if you can match, we've got more money for you. So we said yes. We actually had budgeted funds of $300,000 for repairs and grant matching in the FY26 budget. And so we're able to cover the $250,000, and the state will give us an extra $750,000, which will actually complete that entire basin versus leaving an element remaining. So we're excited about that opportunity and just ask for the committee and council support to go ahead and authorize the use of those funds.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to approve the SCIIP grant amendment to complete Basin RG2 sewer rehabilitation.
Motion. I'll second that motion. Any discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. But this will go to council. All right. The next.
All right, sir. The second one, committee's being asked to support and approve the GLDTC, that's the Greenville Legislative Delegation Transportation Committee municipal match resurfacing program for 2025, 2026. So this, like the previous item, was a budgeted element. The city had set aside $400,000 in next year, or in the current year now, budget for road repaving efforts. The original list was actually submitted for these roads last year. As you may recall, there was a situation in 23 and 24 where money was held over in order to facilitate the repaving of more roads because of non-competitive pricing that GLDTC had received or Co-Transco had received at the time. But since that time, Sweetland Court in two sections, Middleton Lane, New Commerce Court, Settlers Court, Sickle Court, Ashwood Avenue, and Mapleton Drive have all been paved. And now the next section, which was are more streets than we have funding for, is on the list, and that's Tideland Court, Bayou Cove, Fieldgate, Mylan Ray Hopkins, Pine Straw Way, Parsons, Shadow Crest Drive, Calyx Court, Huntington Circle, Meadowood Drive, Lawnfield Street, Wood Green Drive, Knollwood Drive, Ellen Lane, and Lanier Lane. And so that's the list that was provided last year that this matching funds would go towards. And the GLDTC will be putting up $289,518.90. So for a combined $689,518.90 toward the repaving initiative. Also, just as a reminder, in this next fiscal year, or in this current fiscal year now, so long we were talking about next year, but it's this year now. We actually have a plan in place with capital or funding for to update the 5-year repaving or road inventory and assessment. So we'll be conducting that, and that'll help drive our prioritization for for spring of next year, which will go into the next fiscal year.
Have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to add, also, it's a match plus additional funds that the city's put aside. So
Yes, ma'am.
the city has allocated 400,000, and then we'll be receiving the additional 289,518.90. So very good. Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to forward to full council, the GLDTC Municipal Match Resurfacing Program Agreement for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
I have a motion, and I'll make a second. Any discussion? Discussion, those in favor say moving this to full council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the like sign. The ayes have it. This will move to full council. All right. Public comments. We have any public comments? Okay, nothing online. All right, committee concerns.
None?
The one thing I'd like to bring up is the Chris Rhodes family. Please keep his family, in your thoughts and prayers. It's a sad thing if those unaware. He was in a car accident Saturday, correct? And passed. He was a member of our public works, and will be gravely missed. So. All right, moving on. What do I hear about adjournment?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call our second committee meeting, Public Safety, to order. It's 6:11 p.m. on July 7th. All committee members are present, myself, Mr. Allgood, and Mr. Kraling, as well as our department heads and chiefs and everybody that's supposed to be here, except for Chief McCone. All right, public comment. First public comment for public safety. Is it online? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the reading and approval of the minutes from May the 5th.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the minutes from May the 5th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries unanimously. As I stated, Chief McCone is not in town today, but there's an update in your packet. So if there's any questions, I'm sure Mr. Duncan can address those, but the update was rather thorough. So I think we're good on that unless anyone has any comments or questions. All right, hearing none, our administrative judge and clerk of court, Mr. Rado. We learn the titles and then we'll be changing, hopefully, maybe.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Just a quick overview. I don't have too much to go over tonight as far as review. I know I had put in your packet, there was the report from the recent audit that we had done. So I didn't know if there was any questions, just to quickly go through it. The auditors had pulled our monthly court remittance forms. They had also pulled our schedule of court fines, assessments, and surcharges, and also our victim assistance fund. They found no exceptions to any of the procedures performed in those. They did have two small findings in regards to some court-imposed fines. Those have been corrected, and one actually was an error on the upload from the software vendor. So other than that, all went well, and we're complete with the audit.
Great. Thank you for the update that was in our packet. It was very thorough. And does anyone have any questions on the audit?
Look good.
All right.
Thank you.
Stay close. We'll see you again in a minute. Chief Miller.
Evening, Ms. King, Mr. Curling, and Mr. Allgood. Just got a few things to report. We had the youth camp this year. We had 19 boys and 10 girls. I'm sorry for not sending the invitation out to graduation. It was just a slip. But it was very good. We had some great officers that were, the SROs did a fantastic job with it. Also, there's quite a few businesses in the city that donated food for them. The Explorers just went to the skill competition in Columbia, which is the same thing they do at Winterfest. They got third in report writing, second in physical fitness, first in individual shooting, first in team shooting, third in building clearing, and third in suspicious persons. They're killing it.
As always.
Competitions, yes, ma'am. We've had 4 promotions. 3 promotions were for sergeant. Harley Sepchek was promoted to sergeant over community. Daniel Baker was promoted to sergeant over the SROs, and Lucas Kramer was promoted to the road patrol, to a road patrol sergeant, and also Harley Grant was promoted to lieutenant on the road. Their penance ceremony will be in the courtroom at 5 p.m. on Friday, July the 18th, if anybody wants to come. And the command post, it's already been delivered, and we'll be having an unveiling for it soon. You'll definitely see it out at National Night Out on August the 5th. Of course, communities knocking out of the park again this year. They're going to have face paint, popcorn, snow cones, petting zoo, and a whole host of other things for the community to be involved with. They'll also have a DJ as well. Other than that, that's all. We're 7 days in, we're doing good on the budget. So,
Good news.
but any questions?
Mr. Curling.
I just want to say Dean had a great time with Explorers. He was really enjoying it.
Good.
I think he said he needed more sleep. So
Yeah, they wore them out this year, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're doing good.
he enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allgood.
My quick question is the competitions that they participate in,
Yes, sir.
how many cities or participate in that? Do you know?
And this one in Tennessee, I think there's like 60-something teams. This one is, I think it was 15 to 20.
15 to 20?
Yes, sir. Some of them came from out of state, some of them are in state.
Oh, so it's even out of state.
Yes, sir. And they got the opportunity to stay in the academy. So that'll determine if they want to be police officers in the future, so with the sleeping arrangements. But yes, they did very well. And like I say, there was a great, large amount of people that were, teams that were there.
That's great. I just asked for context, to finish first, second, and third in so many categories out of 15. That's pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is the first time that they've actually done shooting. It was at the Academy's firing range. Usually they don't do that, but they've opened that up and also driving. I didn't see a first, second, or third for that, so, so I know nobody wrecked. So, but anyway,
But to your point, Mr. Allgood, there's 60-something teams in the Gatlinburg, and we always place
in
first,
first,
second, or third, yes, and a lot of events there as well. So great.
like I say, the advisors, the SRO advisors, they're phenomenal. They train every Tuesday, every Wednesday night with them. So, and like I say, they put all of that to good use.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, we have no unfinished business, so we'll go right into new business. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight. The first being the judicial restructuring appointments. If Mr. Rado would like to come up and brief us on that. I know we had a update a few months ago, so this is just kind of circling back around on that.
Yes, good evening again. This is just another step in the reorg that I started to go over through in the budget process. So as y'all know, our municipal court has been operating under the current structure for several years now. With the ongoing population growth and the increase in the case volumes, it really had me take a look at just the structure of how we were working under. So during the budget process, I kind of evaluated all our different job functions and realized that we weren't really working under the most optimal structure. As of right now, my role as judicial director includes the clerk of court and also the administrative judge. What I would like to do in the reorg is separate those 2 positions, bring on a full-time administrative judge to help in the judicial procedures in the office, and also appoint my current deputy clerk of court, who's been with us for over 20 years as clerk of court. This way she can help me with the administrative end. I have here with me Judge Brandy White. Brandy has been with us working over 2 years or almost 2 years as an administrative judge on the weekends. She currently works every other weekend with very little supervision and also access to resources, and she does an amazing job on the weekends. She's also been with Columbia City since 2022 in her role as an administrative judge. She estimates that between search warrants and arrest warrants, she does about 100 a week. So she's very well versed in that. She does hold a law degree from Loyola Law School as well. She does live local. She's a current qualified in good standing SC court judge. Do you have any questions in regards to the structuring?
So again, this is, was allocated for in the budget that
Budget.
went into effect 7 days ago, as I was reminded.
Yes. Yes, and it's really just another way to assist the citizens and also the police department by having 2 full-time judges in the office at all times, so that if I'm out of the office, one of us can go to detention, one of us can be here. A lot of times they're looking for us.
No, absolutely. What's committee's pleasure? And then if there's any questions, we can.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment and title changes as written in this document.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a sec?
I'm sorry, forward to council.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to forward to full council the judicial department restructure and the new appointment for the full-time administrative judge. Are there any questions for Mr. Rado? Okay, thank y'all. Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding this to full council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work as always. And thank you, Ms. White, for being here tonight. Okay, next up is the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund program that we were briefed on again, I think 2 months ago. So, we have Mr. Saxon here to give us an overview of what staff has come up with.
Well, good evening, Madam Chair and committee. So as just stated back in May, I presented to you all that we have an opportunity here with the city to present a position that will be very effective in the community with the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund. And as if you remember, the city has close to about $600,000, and 221,000 of that amount will be lost by December 31st if we don't do something with those funds. And so when we started this process, we kind of looked at every avenue that we thought would be possible, and we decided that it would not be good to give it to a third party because we wouldn't know whether or not they would effectively put it back in the city. So the other alternative would be to create a program here, hire someone to come in and facilitate uh, this program, and also, this program and the money used for SCORF will be about 10 years. So we know that for 10 years, this program would be here in house, and it will be given to us, and we just basically have that money to use to continue personnel, programming, and as the program grows, we'll have more money to do other things with each year. And so the ask tonight is for approval for us to move forward. They've opened the application process at the beginning of July. We have until August. That's when it closes. And if we get it in within that deadline, then in October, the funds will be released to us, and then we can begin to do that. So the budget that you have prepared tonight for that program outlines personnel, money for supplies, money for vehicle, everything that will be needed for that individual to come in and have everything that's needed to begin their first year with us. Also, while we're in the mode of getting this new money, more money will be available possibly in the next couple of months that we have to have a plan to see what we're going to do with that money so we don't lose that just as well. And again, 10-year span. The hope is that after we've done this about a year or two, then that person would be the one to apply each year for those funds. There is a report that we have to do every year to show the programmers that we're using those funds appropriately, as well as we talk about this is the program we want to do, this is the outcome that we expect, and after a year, we can go back and say, so this was our outcome, this is how we met what we said we were going to do. And so again, the ask tonight is for a blessing to move forward with setting that program into motion here at the City of Mauldin.
I would like to quickly add a couple of things. First of all, thank you to our staff for having the vision to look for a creative way to use these funds, because I know a lot of municipalities in our area are reaching out to nonprofits and third parties to run these programs or just to turn the money over to them. And to your point, it would not stay in our community. I think having the full-time position within the fire department was the right call as well, versus PD. And then one question before we possibly have a motion on this. Once, if this is forwarded to full council tonight, do you foresee the job being posted like in August, September, or it's ready to go once it's approved?
So once
Will
it
you
goes
wait on
to,
the funding,
once it goes to council and we're able to submit, then once we know that those funds have been given to us, because once we submit it, they'll have to go through and make sure that we've met their criteria. But yes, August, if everything goes well, we can go ahead and start posting and get that interview process started so we can get someone in quickly.
Right, was committee's pleasure.
Like to make a motion to send to full council, approval to create a full-time position in the fire department, specifically for the opioid community risk coordinator using the South Carolina opioid recovery funds.
Thank you, Mr. Crayland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Allgood. Is there any other questions or discussion? Mr. Allgood?
Okay. My question is, walk me through again that process. It sounds like it, it sounds like a guarantee for 10 years. So, but there, I guess there's reporting that is reliant on that guarantee. So just walk me through that one more time.
So there's two separate things. So every year we have to report. Basically, we create a program. We choose out of their program like what we want to do. Then we say, so we're going to take this program. This is what we propose to do with it. This is the outcome that we're looking at seeing at the end of this. Then on the reporting side, we go back and say, well, this was our outcome, and this is actually what we did. So we met our outcome. Regardless of that, the city will continue to get that money awarded or be in that pot, if you will. So each year we still accumulate funding. That's why we're asking to use it instead of losing it.
So, for lack of a better term, regardless of whether we meet the goal, as long as we're striving toward it, we're getting that funding.
That's correct.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. Crayling.
Melanie, this great job. This impacts a lot of families and a lot of pain. Anybody who's run across a family dealing with this, your heart goes out to them. So I think this is a great. The thought process is very well done. Everything about it. Just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of forwarding the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund to create a full-time position within the fire department, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No, no one opposes. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Right. Got tongue-tied there at the end. Yes, thank you. Great program. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to kind of add one little element to it. So South Carolina has received so far 360 million in opioid settlements, and it's covering a time period of 18 years beginning in 2022. So we've got about
Excellent.
15 years left. Thank you.
Great commitment. All right, we're back around to public comment. If anyone step to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Jocelyn Nix, 113 Wood Green Drive. I just had a question concerning the SCARF program. Excuse me. Oh, well, since you
Which
did
program?
the opioid
Okay.
program. So you voted to push the request into council. Great. My only question was if the happy path, if all goes well, and the announcement isn't put out until August, September, do we already have the program just waiting to go, or we have to get the program together once the person is hired? And we don't know how long that'll take for the person to be hired.
Right, so during public comment, it's not really a Q&A time, but once we adjourn this committee meeting, I'm sure Mr. Saxon will address those questions for you if you want to hold on just for a couple of minutes, and he can get with you on that.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no more public comment, committee concerns. Seeing, hearing none, what do I have on adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned at 6:30. Next up, BDS.
Howdy, sir.
All right. Calling to order the BDS committee meeting of July 7th, 2025. Record reflect all members of the committee are present, along with department head David Deerhog, Seth, Cindy, and various members of the public. As we go to our first public comment, real quick, I want to just make a quick comment here. As we enter our first public comment period, I'd like to outline some adjustments to the process for the agenda concerning the item 6A to ensure we get a fair and focused discussion. This item has been thoroughly reviewed, appearing twice before this committee and twice before the Planning Commission. Across these 4 meetings, we've heard a range of concerns, including but not limited to traffic impacts and safety along New Neely Ferry Road, neighborhood safety, concerns with the retention pond about increase in bugs, increase in snakes, or the increased risk of drowning for children. We've heard concerns about compatibility with the neighborhood, the potential domino effect on surrounding properties, stormwater and flooding issues, impact on the quality of life due to a business in that area, and effects on the neighborhood aesthetics. All comments from these meetings have been documented in the minutes and public hearings and have been held for each iteration of the issue. Additionally, the petition that was submitted to city staff is a part of the public record and in our documents as well. And so given the extensive opportunity for input, I kindly request tonight that no more than 3 individuals from each side, either supporting or opposing, speak tonight, respecting the 3-minute time limit for remarks. This would be only for the item 6A. Also, the second comment period will be open for any of the other issues on the agenda, as well as other issues related to the BDS department. But at that point, the time will have passed for discussion on 6A agenda item. So I thank you for your cooperation in keeping our discussion productive, expedient, and respectful. And with that, I'll open it up. And please state your name and your address. Yes. Yes.
Good evening, Patricia Chapman, 123 Wood Green Drive. Middlewood subdivision has 3 streets in it. Middlewood Drive and Wood Green Drive run parallel to each other, and they both run downhill from Neely Ferry Road. The 3rd street in the subdivision is Lawnfield, and Wood Green runs at a lower elevation than Meadowwood and Wood Green. So we get a lot of rainwater drainage down through our neighborhood on Wood Green Drive. The members of Meadowwood subdivision, we have talked about the retention pond, and what our reference of a retention pond is the pond put there by the church, Harvest Ministries Church, and I believe it was mandated by the city or some government entity to put this pond in. You know this picture? This is a picture of the pond. Those rooftops are the houses on Wood Green Drive at the edge of those ponds. So this is what we look at all the time. Excuse me. And I believe retention ponds are supposed to have an inlet pipe and an outlet pipe. That cylinder there is the outlet, leads to the outlet pipe outside the pond. Okay, next picture. In this next picture, this pond is behind the business at 300 Neely Ferry Road. So you cannot see it from Neely Ferry Road. But this is the other side of the retention pond, and that tree level there that is behind that business, I forget what it is. But as you can see, it is eroding the fence line So it looks very bad and it's all overgrown and all kinds of stuff is growing. Next picture. Up. That is, as you can see here, that is the outlet pipe from that pond. And it leads to what the city calls, I forget the name of the creek, but we call it just a drainage, a drainage ditch. And as you can tell, up here in the corner, that dark area is where the ground is eroding from Mrs. Hatton's house. And more water has gone through there and it is eroding our property all the way down Wood Green Drive.
Miss Patricia, how many more of these do you have?
There's the. You can see that white line is the drainage path from that pond and it leads behind our houses and it is eroding the property behind our houses. All we're asking is whoever builds on that property that's in contest, that they do the right thing, they do the research, do everything that they can to not damage any more of our property in the Meadowwood subdivision. Who wants a mini retention pond that looks like that? What's up, Mr. Reverend? Who wants a mini retention pond on a place like that? That is the property at the corner of Meadowwood and Wood Green.
Thank you.
This is what we see now.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Of amending this audience, the due process of law. I think that to place a amendment in an audience, yes, it's an audience. How much leeway do you have for the community to know that you're doing this, putting this amendment there?
Sir, if you could pull that down, we can't really hear you.
If you have amended something, it seems like it would go through different channels. And I don't see it going through that. You just look like you just made up an amendment and put it there. But I think an amendment should be something that that you should discuss with your committees, and it should be voted on and things like that, because due process of law and the public should know about it too. Because I didn't know anything about changing it to C2 and from OD, and I think that this was a little sketchy, and it doesn't hold water. But getting back to the community, you know, you disturbing the community with retention ponds, and also with aesthetics, how the building gonna look. And I don't think you've even seen the pictures of the building. And you need to have, I know you have standards for it, it's 45 feet in the air, but that would still be not too good. Also, I was reading about the standards of the fence. You can put up a fence, an opaque fence is a fence that you can put up, and we don't know how that would look, an opaque fence, because you can't see through it. And people could be doing anything. And that could be in that amended. I mean, you already have that for one of your standards, but I don't agree with that neither. And just like I say, this amendment seemed to me wasn't done fairly. Thank you.
Sir. We have one more for opposed.
Samuel Neely at 127 Wood Green Drive here in Mauldin. I stand basically to re-enter once again the understanding that we are still struggling in our community in a way that we haven't since we've been there. It's a different situation where we feel that we are being pressed to do something that we as a majority are struggling with. Water retention is the biggest problem, that one of the largest problems that we already have. And we understand that we are adding more to it now. And secondly, not only the water, back to what was said earlier, the retaining pond. We are struggling with the present one that's right there at the beginning on the other end of our community. And now we're looking to put another one at the entrance and coming in. And those things are our biggest issue. The water, also the attendance of cars coming back and forth, and then allowing our children, there are no buses that come into our community. No buses are coming into the community, so our children are let off on Neely Ferry. Parents have to be up there, and many of them, when the parents are not at home, they're coming across and walking on that particular property to get to their homes outside of the highway. So we are asking that you reconsider, that you look at where we are and consider where we are hurting in the middle of this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Does everyone like to speak in support?
Good evening. Thank you guys for the opportunity to speak. My name is Mary Jones. I'm the owner of Swim Lessons with Mary, a local business that has served the upstate for over 12 years. I started this business when I was 15 years old, and since then we've taught thousands of children and adults how to swim through our one-on-one program, including those with disabilities, many whom live right here in Mauldin. I grew up here. I went to St. Joseph's just down the road and Clemson for undergrad, and I now employ a team of 20 instructors who are passionate, talented, and even fundraise to provide high quality swim lessons to low income families who cannot afford them. I believe this is more than a business. It's a mission to prevent drowning and save lives, as the number one cause of death in children 4 and under is actually drowning. And I think this is the type of business that Mauldin should want to support in the community. And so I'm here today to really find out if there is a way for us to continue to grow my business here. Over the course of the process, we've attended many different meetings and spent countless hours listening to complaints, conflicting arguments, and personal attacks on my character and the business. And at each meeting, the target has continually shifted. When we began this process, the neighborhood's opposition was focused primarily on the dangers of C2 zoning, which is understandable, and we heard all of those oppositions. So the city sponsored and drafted an amendment to the current OD zoning in order to alleviate all of these concerns and actually went above and beyond what would normally be required. But as what has become clear through this process is that the Meadowwood neighborhood is opposed to any development on my land and will say and do whatever is necessary to ensure this. The topic at hand tonight is about land use and zoning. We own the land, purchased it in February, knowing that the zoning was not perfect, but with dialogue with the city, we had received support for the use case prior to the purchase. The land has actually been commercially zoned for over 50 years, prior to many of the majority of those houses to when they were even built. It's a separate parcel adjacent to the neighborhood. It's in fact not a part of the neighborhood. Mauldin is growing at a rapid pace, and I think it's really naive to think that this land won't be developed in the near term. If the neighborhood wanted to control the land, they could have purchased it. And we've listened to every concern raised about the aesthetics, the traffic, the hours, the safety, and the environmental impact. We've also listened to the longstanding frustrations with drainage, neighborhood signage, snakes, and other wildlife in the community that has been failed to address for decades. Those concerns are certainly valid, but they are not my concerns to solve. Redirecting these grievances onto me and onto my business is really unfair, and it frankly distracts from the actual decision being made today, and these things should be addressed in another forum. The argument that we have heard from the neighborhood are really moot relative to the decision at hand tonight. The concerns raised in the Meadowood formal petition actually imply that the only acceptable outcome is no development of this property. The proposed amendment has addressed all actionable concerns by the city, and every single protection that the neighborhood has asked for has been included in your proposed amendment. Setbacks, driveway placement, enhanced screening, size limits, operational limits, and more. These weren't required, but they were added specifically to protect this community. And these changes, frankly, only benefit the neighbors, and they place additional restrictions on what I, as the landowner, am able to do with my property. We have lost focus on why we are here. We are here to discuss an amendment to the current zoning to allow a low-impact educational use case, nothing more intense or disruptive than what is currently allowed today. OD currently allows schools, frankly, this is a swim school, and the proposed amendment also will clean up the OD zoning that currently has quite a lot of inconsistencies, which I think you've all come to realize as well. There are many businesses operating in the office district that are healthcare providers, offering one-on-one life-saving services that are very similar to how my business operates. In fact, one of them even has a pool inside of the building that was approved by the city. The Planning Commission cannot produce the documentation for when the zoning was changed or when the healthcare providers were allowed within OD. And in fact, today the federal government is currently drafting a bill that would allow swim lessons to be covered by HSAs because it is teaching all people a life-saving skill. I think a lot of people in this room own their own businesses. I'm sure, as you understand, I really need clarity for the direction of my swim school. If you vote against the amendment, I will have no choice but to sell the land to a motivated developer that will unfortunately not take the neighborhood's concerns into consideration as we have. A developer will likely build what is permitted by right, a daycare, it could be a bank, a fire station. If the council is only interested in addressing the concerns of the neighborhood, then this proposed amendment provides the best outcome for them. Otherwise, development under the current OD zoning would not require further discussions about driveway location, visual screening, traffic flow, or neighborhood preferences. So really and I'll wrap it up because I know I'm over time and I apologize, but what I'm asking the committee to do tonight is just to make a decision based on the facts at hand, not the stretched truths or the factors that are irrelevant to this decision tonight. Voting down the amendment simply delays the inevitable of this property developed. The reality is that the amendment is probably the best outcome for the neighborhood based on all of the concerns that we've heard them address over the past 6 months. It ensures a locally owned, low impact, and life-saving local business can serve Mauldin. In the long run, that land is not going to remain empty. This is your chance to shape its use responsibly and ensure a higher impact business does not go on it, which is what the neighborhood has been trying to avoid this whole time. I'm asking the committee to send the amendment to the city council and let them have the final vote. If it's determined at the city council meeting that my swim school is a worse outcome for the neighborhood and the community than a daycare, a bank, a fire station, then so be it. We are happy to move on, trust me, and we will accomplish our goals elsewhere and take whatever action is necessary to do so. But please, I just implore that you use the facts and not your emotions when you make a decision tonight. Thank you.
Next up is reading and approval of minutes. What's the committee's pleasure?
Move they be approved as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those like sign. They are approved. Reports, communications from city officers. Mr. Deerhog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, committee members. For the report I have for you tonight, just a few things. First, I want to just comment that for the new public shopping center going in at Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road, we're starting to see the businesses that are anticipating moving in with Publix, starting to take shape as we have right now 6 businesses that are in varying stages of either applying for permits or beginning construction. We have 8 new businesses that have opened their doors this past month in the city. That includes Apple Lily Designs, Carolina Sleep Therapy, Coco Beauty Aesthetics, First Home Equity Loans, the National Association of Letter Carriers Union Hall, Prisma Urgent Care, which you've seen open just down the street here, Realty One Group Freedom, and Through It All Healthcare. Also want to give you a heads up that later this month at the Planning Commission meeting, they are going to take a look at an ordinance similar to like we've done with alcohol beverage stores, just making sure that our standards are consistent with state law and looking at that with some other drinking places. Also, next month at the committee meeting, we are planning to bring to this committee an ordinance to update the business license as we are required every other year to keep up with the Business License Standardization Act for the state. And then finally, you may have heard that Greenville County is discussing impact fees, and we are keeping a close ear and watching that discussion carefully and trying to make sure we pay attention to how that may affect our community. And that's the report I have for you tonight.
Mr. Deerhog. No unfinished business. I'm sorry. Do we have any questions or comments, Mr. Deerhog? I apologize, gentlemen. All right, we're on to new business. The first one is the amendment to the zoning ordinance. You want to just give us an update there?
Yeah, let me just give you an update. I'm not going to get into the ordinance because we've talked about it a couple of times already in different meetings, but Planning Commission did meet on June 24th, and they voted 5-2 to recommend denial of this ordinance. Mr. Paulson and Mr. Bixler were the dissenting votes. The commission cited concerns about the timing of the ordinance, with the city on track to potentially adopt a new comprehensive plan later this year. It is their opinion that this type of amendment to the zoning ordinance would be more appropriate to review after the city has the benefit of weighing the information and guidance that the new comprehensive plan will provide. And I'll just give you lastly kind of the update on the staff's recommendation. And we think the business that we've been kind of talking at the center of this issue all along is a fantastic business and provides a tremendous service. But based on the opinion of the Planning Commission and the community feedback that we've heard repeatedly now, staff recommends taking no further action on the text amendment as drafted at this time. To the Planning Commission's point, the definition of all zoning district can be revisited after the adoption of a new comprehensive plan. So there's a motion in your report to this effect, but certainly it is within your purview to also consider forwarding this to full city council with the recommendation of approval or denial. And that's our update for you.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion? Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the committee to direct staff no further action on this proposed text amendment.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? I will second for discussion.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Oh. When do we do discussion? Did I get that other? Discussions, yeah, yeah. All right. Do you have anything?
I'll continue to say that I appreciate everybody's feedback and comments. I do not disagree that a swim school would be a great addition to the city of Mauldin. We have had a similar conversation with a badminton place that wanted to come to Mauldin. Again, a great project, but the wrong location. And it is my belief that this particular piece of property needs to remain zoning as OD, much into what the Planning Commission has also voiced. So that's all I have.
Yes, sir. Matt, do you have anything? Yes, sir.
We are, we're elected to look after the entirety of the city of Mauldin. And I think that we have heard a lot of concerns from the community and the Meadowood subdivision about their concerns of a high impact use of that property. Um, I will have to oppose the motion because I genuinely think that if you get a daycare that goes in there, if you get any host of businesses that are allowed under OD, they have a higher use, which will bring to fruition each of the concerns that have been presented to us by the community. So for that reason, I'll be opposing.
Thank you, Ms. Matney. Yeah, I think up to this point, I've been conflicted with what I feel like are this two different mandates that somehow find themselves at odds with one another, which is where we're supposed to represent the wishes and will of the public as their representative of sorts, what we were elected to do, to be their voice. At least that's what I understand, and that's kind of why I'm here. But I think Mr. Matney's point is great too. I think this would be a great thing for Mauldin. I think the inevitability of something being built there is not in dispute at this point. And it's a difficult decision because I think both are valid. Well, but I mean, both are in conflict with one another, and that's a tough one. Well, we have a motion. The motion is to direct staff to take no further action as proposed amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. So what now?
Mr. Chairman, move that we forward the item to full council.
I have a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Forward to council. Second one, new business ordinance to adopt section 6-14, keeping live chickens to the animal control ordinance. Mr. Deerhog.
Okay, I'm back up. So we brought this up a few months ago, kind of highlighted that one of the most popular requests we get is people who want to have chickens at their property. And this is not just isolated to Mauldin, but is a national trend. We shared with you, this was back in April, a report as well from a journal article about this issue and highlighted primarily the benefits of this practice. So we kind of commented to the committee that at that point in time, this would be something we'll take a look at and maybe draft something up for y'all to consider. That's what we're back here for tonight. Right now, the city of Mauldin's animal control ordinance really is silent on the issue of chickens, except to say that allowing an animal to crow or cackle in an excessive, continuous, or unreasonable fashion constitutes a public nuisance. That's it. So the ordinance that you have tonight, let me just hit some highlights of what's in it. It does allow the keeping of chickens on a residential property. They would only be on properties with a detached single-family home, and this would only be hens or female chickens. No roosters would be allowed. It would allow up to 5 hens at a single lot. They would be confined to the rear yard. There's standards in here about the chicken coop that would be required and what it would need to follow in terms of standards, where it's located, the minimum height, maximum height, how minimum floor area of it, maximum area it can take up, setback it needs to be from property lines and from other residences, screening, the design of the coop, the cleanliness and the ventilation of it. Um, and that the hens need to be secured inside that coop from sunset to sunrise each day. There's also some stuff in here about storing the chicken feed, and it's specifically and strictly prohibits slaughter and breeding of chickens. Prohibits any commercial purposes for keeping of chickens. And then also has in here a standard that if there are covenants and restrictions or other HOA regulations that prohibit keeping of chickens, that this does not override that. And just some other standard language. So have that for you tonight by way of, you can certainly discuss it. And if you feel good about it too, you can pass this up to city council to take a look at. But that's where we're at tonight.
I don't even know where to start.
I thought it was pretty clear how I felt about the chicken issue earlier. Here we are. Do I have a discussion question? Yes, sir.
Might as well jump into it. What's the lifespan of a chicken?
Should have brought the animal control officer here. And I don't think he's here anymore. I don't know. Do you know, Mr. Duncan?
This is where we need Chief McCone here.
Yeah. Or we can get Chief Turner on the phone. I only ask because obviously if roosters are prohibited, it makes breeding difficult. So I'm trying to figure out how frequently the,
Doubling down. Doubling down on that one.
I'm trying my best. I mean, how often they would have to get chicks to repopulate the coops, and I mean, I don't.
Mr. Matney, so
Help me help you.
according to the Google, it says the average lifespan is 6 to 8 years for most backyard flocks. So,
How does this draft ordinance stack up with surrounding municipalities?
Yeah, so actually we used other municipalities a lot in the drafting of this ordinance and their language. You may recall in April, we kind of gave you a glimpse of the communities around us and what they do and don't allow. City of Greenville surprisingly allows chickens. And I will be honest, the ordinance that you have before you tonight is more restrictive than their ordinance. Theirs is fairly lax, actually. City of Greer allows chickens, similar standards. Actually, a good number of our standards that are in this draft ordinance were taken from the City of Greer, but they do allow up to 6, and this one is 5. And if you're asking where we came up with 5 for this ordinance, there was a state bill introduced, but probably not going anywhere, that stated 5 chickens. And so that's kind of, we used this state bill that was introduced as kind of the basis for that number. Town of Fountain Inn allows them actually without too much regulation there, as long as they don't run at large is what they say. City of Spartanburg allows up to 6, similar standards. City of Anderson allows up to 4. And actually, so a bunch of the other standards we have in the draft ordinance for you tonight have come through the City of Anderson. So you'll see the ordinance that you have before you tonight is a blend of some of the more restrictive standards found in Anderson and Greer. And then Greenville County, of course, they allow chickens, they allow up to 8. So that's kind of a glimpse of what some of the communities that have specific regulations on chickens around us have.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know what else I could add to this. So at the appropriate time, I'll move that we forward it to full council.
Two questions.
Two questions.
Questions.
First question is on where it says B, no more than 5 hens shall be kept at any time on a single lot. Just making sure, based on legal language, that the lot means the residential lot, not a coop. So therefore, they could have more than one coop.
Yeah, the residential lot.
And then the other question is on item D, where it says hens shall be confined to the rear yard of the property. A fence or wall must be installed to ensure that chickens cannot roam out of the rear yard. I assume that means that they have to have a fenced-in backyard.
Yep, or something very equivalent, but in most cases, it's going to be a fenced-in backyard.
And in your opinion, I guess, in drafting this, that there was no reason to dictate how much square footage said fenced-in area should be?
The only thing that we saw on that was, so one of the places, I believe it was Anderson, had requirements about runs for the chicken that might be attached to the coop where they essentially can roam and run somewhat more freely. And they had on theirs just basically maximum space that the run plus the coop could take up, because the run has a little bit of a different type of fencing. And so we introduced that into this, that if you're going to provide a run with the coop, that it can't exceed 100 square feet. That's the standard that Anderson used. But besides that, we did not see anything else size-wise on a minimum or a maximum about size of the yard and what needs to be fenced in.
The main reason why this came to my mind is the opposite of that. Meaning, I know there are some people who are concerned about animal health and avoiding animal cruelty and making sure that they have enough room to run and do what they need to do, whatever chickens do. So that just may be a consideration. I have no
Yeah.
problem with going to full council.
My only question is, I'm assuming because of the recommendation to move forward, you don't see any big issues with enforcement. We're not going to create some headache for city staff and said animal control officer that unfortunately was not here to answer our questions earlier.
Yeah, great question. In fact, so this was all shared with and vetted through our animal control officer, and he actually weighed in on making some different revisions to the ordinance that you now have before you tonight. But we ran it through him as well as the city attorney.
So he knows what's happening.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I would also add that this actually provides clarity for staff, whereas now it's very ambiguous, though administratively we say no, but this actually gives us concrete
That's right.
rules and regulations, so then that way it makes our code enforcement officer's job a lot easier.
You're right. I remember that discussion earlier.
Yeah. One of the things he faces a lot is people tell him, well, you don't say I can't. And in some regards, they are right.
I hear that at home a lot. All right. Do I have a motion?
Move that we forward this to full council.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Or I'm sorry,
Aye.
discussion? None. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, moving it on. Second public comment. Committee concerns. No, ma'am. The second public comment, if it's about 6A, we've already discussed all that. No, ma'am, that's what we talked about earlier. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
You can talk about the chickens. If you want to come up and talk about chickens, you can talk about chickens.
Okay. I do for the record on concern, have one thing. sorry, sir, with the remind me your name. I didn't catch it when you stood up. I know the,
The gentleman in the championship.
your name again? Mr. Kennedy, yes, sir. Sorry, I apologize. I didn't catch it on the way in. I walked into here not sure what I was going to do on that 6A thing, and just it was honestly something you said that I think that struck a chord with me. That I think you're exactly right. That due process and as many people as possible get the opportunity to weigh in on this. It seems a little unfair is the right word, but maybe to shortcut the process, not to allow the entire council to have their voice and their say on that. And that to me is important, because for three of us to make the decision when there's seven of us, I think is just doesn't feel right to me. And to be honest with you, that was what you said. I heard, and that's why I did what I did. But not that I have to always give an answer, but I thought it was what you said was very impactful, and I appreciate you saying that. Any other committee concerns? What I hear in adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. 7:12.
Right, we do not have Michael. All right, up next, we have the Recreation Committee meeting. It is currently 7:13. In the chambers are Mr. Steenbeck, myself, Mr. Reynolds is missing today. And I don't see Bart in attendance. Is he back there? He's just hiding? Oh, he's right there. Right in front of me. There he is. All right. First up, we will have public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment on a recreational issue? I don't see any. There's none online. So we will now do reading and approval of minutes. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Sorry. Move to accept as written.
I will second that. Any discussion?
None.
No discussion. All in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next up is our Recreation Director, Bart Cumlander, to give us an update on recreation.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being patient for recreation. Couple things we got going on. We still have fall signups going on. We have our Jamboree August 16th. The numbers have grown. So when we do our Jamboree in football, we do it with Simpsonville, Fountain Inn, and Greer. We're still talking, Southside Christian may join this year with us as well. We're trying to work out some logistics with that. And then what that does is just gives us more opportunity of more field space and just kind of make the program grow as well. And so we're communication with them. And so with that being said, it's just not going to be Mauldin. It's going to be Simpsonville, Fountain Inn, and Greer. We're all vote on it. And they're going to probably play in this year in the fall in football. Couple things, me and Gregory and the staff have been working on the master parks study plan. We've had a couple meetings, had some focus groups meetings about 2 weeks ago, and it was real successful. Got some input on what the community wants in the parks in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm talking with a list because I have a retainer in, so I apologize. So just bear with me. So that's been really good. And I won't get Gregory up here because he can share a little bit more with that too. But the other departments are going well too. The scene program's doing good. Sports program, good. Sports center, keep increasing the numbers there. You can see that on our revenue at the end of the year, July. The rental revenues is going up into the rec department as well for the rentals. You can see that in your revenue statement that you get each month. We got pretty much one more month of July for the rental. And then we'll start back up the fall season with travel baseball. And so they've already picked out a couple of dates to the fall as well. So didn't mean to skip over the other stuff, but there's two major things that we're working on really. And I'll let Mr. Gregory Saxton talk about the rest. He's been a big help to us.
Basically, committee, Bart has just basically gave you a rundown. So we did an RFP, which you know, with Bolton and Mink, who are the consultants that we're using to do our Parks and Master Plan. They have gone through several tasks with us. First being the initial intake, getting with staff, and just kind of talking about the overall desire, where we are, rates, and how we can do things better. And then they had another colleague from their firm to come out and do an assessment on all 5 of our parks and talk about, you know, just looking at what we have, what's good, what's not so great, and just kind of looking at all 5 parks and just kind of just taking that assessment. And as Mark alluded, we did have 3 focus groups. That was from with different residents. Each focus group was just getting that intake on how they see Mauldin growing, the parks, where they go most, how they feel when they go to the parks, what they would like to see that is not current, that we don't offer, different ages. And so each of those focus groups were different ages per se. So the first group that met at 3:30 were kind of the older, and then the second group was more of your not the oldest, but maybe like 40 to 50, had some coaches in that one. And then the last one was still about the same, but just a little less. So the next steps, they're going to come back and meet with the rec staff and do an intake from them. And then they're going to start working on the nitty gritty of this Parks Master Plan. Then they will come to you all maybe in November to give you the overall of the actual plan and give that full presentation. It's been going well. The major thing that I did forget, so hopefully this week we're going to release a survey. That survey would run about 3 to 4 weeks just to get an intake from the community on how they see the parks, what they would like to see, how they feel when they go out to the different parks. So it'd be like a 4 to 5 minute survey, QR code. We're hoping that since we have the next 3 Amped Up Fridays, that'd be a great opportunity to post that, get some really good intake from folks while they're there. We're going to put it out for social media. We're going to hopefully go to some vendors and business places here in Mauldin that helped us when we did our strategic plan. I believe there were some places that we went that work with the city by allowing us to post a QR code and get intake just as well. So we're going to run that for about 4 weeks. And then that also be within that final product to let you all know as full council, you know, where we can go, what we're using, what we're doing well, how we can do it better, what we're overlooking. Maybe we can include in that way that you all then can tell us as staff how you would like to maneuver to make that plan come to life and not be put on the shelf, as they say. Mhm. Yeah, facilities as well. Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, two questions. One was when we're talking about the master plan, that's encompassing all, I'm assuming facilities and programs and everything.
Yes, sir.
The whole, basically everything falls under rec.
Looks at our rates. Are we charging enough? Are we doing enough? How do we improve the parks that we have? You know, talk about even the senior center. What are we doing there? How can we make that better? So from looking at the programs at this at the sports center, you know, what kind of classes are we offering? Can we do something different? Like the whole caboodle.
Okay. And my second question was, forgot. Goodness.
I bet it was.
Oh, not question, but make recommendation of, you know, maybe not, instead of just posting those QR codes, having people actively, you know, kind of asking for the input of the people at the Amped Up Fridays, you probably would get great results. Just,
Yeah, well, we have a plan in place to try to get people to
uh,
just come in.
I should have known better. Yep.
I don't have any other questions regarding the surveys and the studies that you're doing. I just appreciate you doing it because it's important to get that information. Um, uh, I did have a question on. I did have a question on the adult basketball thing. How'd that go? Since I didn't participate, because I didn't get my teammates involved.
That's why we couldn't hold it, because you didn't participate, sir.
Is that why?
You were the last, we were
You're
holding.
holding out?
Yeah.
We're going to try to attack that in a better way, how to get the word out. The numbers were not where we wanted them to be to have it. And so we're going to meet again and just try to see if we can push it a little bit better, maybe lower the cost. I don't know if it was too high, maybe lower the cost of doing that. Some other things we can do, advertise it better. And so we're going to work on that. I think we really need to work on the middle-aged folks like me and you, Mr. Allgood. So I feel strongly about that. So
Appreciate you leaving me out of that group.
you're the early 30s.
Yeah, right.
Any other questions for Mr. Cunlander or Mr. Saxon? Thank you. We have no unfinished business, but then we have new business, which is the South Carolina grant match. And are you taking that one?
I will be glad to.
Have at it.
So we have another opportunity to do something great. The South Carolina Parks, Recs, and Tourism have the Undiscovered grant opportunity. It is a competitive grant. I believe it's about $750,000 that's available. We submitted to do a pre-application on what we're wanting to do. So currently Sunset is on septic, of course. And now that times has changed and been some development, so sewer is now available. And currently with the park being on septic, it limits our capacity on how much we can do during the day, having different types of events at that location. So we are wanting to apply for the Undiscovered grant and asking that council would approve up to $200,000 as a match for this. The application process ends August 8th. It's open currently. And so we would like to be able to apply to get money to basically upgrade our facility at Sunset Park and put it on sewer.
Any questions?
I'm assuming you have an idea where that 200,000 would come from?
Yes, sir. So actually, the recommendation and the request is
The
use of approval and match an amount up to $200,000 from the FY26 budget, which is the H&A has a contribution to fund balance of over 280,000. And so the idea is to put up that $200,000 match, which the amount may be lower because we're going to do a PER, preliminary engineering report, with probably our in-house engineering consultant in order to get a true kind of scope and expectation of what it's going to cost, and then we'll know exactly how much to apply for. So right now, 200 is the maximum that we can apply for, and it would be funded from the planned contribution fund balance, which is essentially funds already currently allocated in the budget. But we will know relatively quickly whether or not we get the grant. As Mr. Saxon said, it's a very competitive grant. And this is a little unorthodox request from what we were told, but they said, hey, let's give it a go. And it goes through a pretty extensive scoring and ranking system, which we hope to be successful with. But so the request tonight is for that grant match and that allocation from H&A.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
We forward to full council for approval.
I will second that. I did have one additional question. This is regarding basically hooking up to a sewer line alone, not actually replacing facilities.
Correct. So right now, the main concessions area where the four fields come together, the idea is to basically straight line pipe that septic system there over to where the Miracle Field is, and then take a small pump and kick it up to the neighboring property where there's a manhole that dead ends into our property where a cul-de-sac is. And so because it's not, the gravity won't work that way for all of it. So we got to bring it to a low point in the middle and then kick it up to the north. And so, but it's a very small project in the grand scheme of things, but it would abandon the septic system and replace it in completely.
If my memory serves me correctly, which doesn't always, if we go behind Miracle, there is restroom facility there. Is there not? Or do you have to walk all the way up to,
There is one there at Miracle. You're right. Yeah.
that one is also on septic?
Yes. That one, the drain fields are under the big rectangle field.
So
That's why.
all of them would be fixed, or just the one at the center of the?
They would
fields?
be essentially tied together to a new wet well that would then shoot up to the manhole from one central location, but they would all be tied together. So there wouldn't be a septic on one and sewer on the other. They'd all be uh, combined into a single wet well and then kicked to the manhole.
Art, can I ask your opinion on something? Obviously, this is regarding the sewer line itself, but in your opinion, do we need to look at updating those facilities at Sunset?
Yes, and that's part of the park master plan. They did a survey of the facilities and they're going to rate it and they're going to give that to you in the report, like Gregor said, in November. Yes, we need to replace that. Hits hard. It will get hit hard sometimes with vandalism and just usage. We're using a lot this time of year just with our stuff and then the rentals. And to elaborate a little bit on that septic tank, you're having to pump that 2 or 3 times in a year. You eliminate that if we get this grant and pump that sewer out of the park. So, that pump truck coming in there and doing that.
Yeah.
But yes, we need to upgrade the facilities, and that's something we're looking at with the master plan.
Cool beans.
And,
All right.
Mr. Chairman, just one other point of note, that the undiscovered South Carolina grant, what they're looking for is ways to increase capacity, increase tourism. So that's why we wanted to focus it on the pain point that was limiting our ability to increase the speed in which we can lease out those fields and increase our programming capability versus looking at a larger project, which we do need to do, but we were going to plan to do that after we had the master plan back, as Bart mentioned.
Yeah, makes total sense. Perfect. Okay, any other further questions? All right. The motion is to forward this along to full council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. It goes to full council for approval. All right, we've reached our next public comments. Anybody? Bueller? Nobody? All right, committee concerns, any? None? Would we like to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, somebody else second that. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:29.